Hey guys, so you may or may not know Roomie Official, but he is a singer, drummer, YouTuber, and he put out this video recently where he gets real with his subscribers. So I wanted to actually dive into some of the things that he was saying because I think he covers some important points.
Brain, it was this comment. I kind of find it charming that Joel is showing us the problems in his house because it kind of makes it seem like he also has regular people problems as well. I do have those, yes. It's not all pristine and clean cut, and that makes me a little less distant. And this comment, got some up.
So this is very interesting because, we think of putting out our content, my own content, right? When I think of putting it out, I want to try to, there's kind of this curve where you start off like with really, really garbage content, not necessarily garbage content, but garbage production value. And then the production value gets better and better as time goes on. And it almost sounds like this one subscriber was like, well, with that increase in production value, you also get this kind of clean, pristine feel to all the videos where there doesn't feel like there's a connection between the audience and the YouTuber. And it's just so interesting to kind of hear how pulling back the curtain, I mean, for a YouTuber with 2,000 subscribers, it may not be such a big deal because, there's not really a curtain that's built up. There's not this kind of like, oh, he's doing so well, so he must be living at a certain standard. Whereas, somebody like Roomie around, 5.5 million subscribers, that's a large channel. And so that can maybe make his followers feel a little bit distant from him.
Got some upvotes and stuff, like 900 people are like, oh yeah, I agree with this. So I realized that maybe since I don't talk about my feelings that much, it might seem like, everything's so great and I'm just, whatever medium-sized YouTuber that's doing really well and I'm so happy and everything's amazing. However, as the title says to this video, I have been very sad recently. I'm not going to do this video in some ooh, sad voice because that's just not entertaining to watch. But I will talk about this and just kind of explain where I'm coming from. Maybe you guys can relate. Just talk a bit.
So, it makes sense that his content doesn't really talk about his feelings often. You're trying to put out content that's entertaining, that's getting people to, he's singing in his content. There's not really, at least at the beginning and as you're kind of growing, there's not really room to start talking about yourself because first you kind of have to develop that relationship with the audience for the audience to really even care what you're feeling like. If you have 5,000 subscribers, there might be 50 of them that actually care about how you're feeling. But as your audience grows, more and more people actually really genuinely care and want to kind of know the story behind the person, behind the face of the YouTube star that they're watching. So that's kind of where I think that this is kind of perfectly timed, that he's opening up about certain personal issues and deepening a relationship that's already been created with his audience. Check out my subscription service where you get access to unreleased reaction videos that are uncut with no ads. Link in the description.
About why I've been really sad recently. Basically, I thought for a long time that I was a really strong person. I had great self-discipline. I was great at time management. And it was almost like I could look at other people who weren't working as hard as me and be like, wow, how can you do that? Like, it's so easy to work hard. And then something changed. Basically, I was working through.
So an interesting point he brings up there is of judgment, and especially when you're judging others, and then you find yourself in the same predicament, and then you notice, wow, okay, it gives me perspective that I shouldn't have been judging them in the first place. That's why I think in general I try to avoid judging anybody. Obviously I'm human, but at the end of the day, you never know. You've never stood in the other person's shoes, so you never really know what they're going through until they actually communicate it with you. And even then, it's very hard to see their experience through their eyes.
My whole upbringing to become the best drummer in the world. That was what I wanted to be, right? There's some videos of me drumming online, you can probably see it. But I messed up my back when I was at music conservatory. It made me really sad and everything kind of changed. I started going to university. I studied political science, which sucked. But then I got a break with YouTube and I figured out a way to be able to do YouTube for a full year, full time. That was what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to lose this chance. I was super motivated. So I moved into this tiny, cheap flat because I didn't have a lot of money. Because as many will say, when you're a small YouTuber, you don't have a lot of money. It's really difficult. And this is the flat in question. As you can see here, this was back in 2012, which is 7 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. Basically, this is the whole flat. This is a tiny, tiny kitchen behind here. Over here to the right of the guitars, you have the bed and the door to go out of the flat. And over here to the left side, I had my desk that I worked on. And I would never leave this flat ever. I had no social life, no life at all. I was just working on YouTube videos all the time and I didn't have any help. I did these covers that
So this is definitely the struggle of the small YouTuber, right? Like really, really grinding at it, trying to make it work. By the way, he looks so different. He doesn't even look like the same person. But you can kind of see the start of what it is and how kind of lonely it is, as positive and good it is to not be tied down to any job per se. I think it's important that people see that it's not all perfectly glamorous. With the freedom that any self-employed person has, it kind of grants them the ability to do almost anything. And for those of you who know, if you have too many options, often you end up getting stuck doing nothing. And so, you're there with indecision paralysis. You've got all those opportunities and possibilities of things that could be done, but it's just like it's too overwhelming, so you just end up frozen. And I think that's the irony of freedom, that we often think freedom is the ability to choose whatever we want. And that, to a certain degree, there's truth to that, but that comes with its own limitations, whereas having a limited number of choices kind of gives you a certain freedom in being able to actually move on and continue on and live a life beyond just trying to make that one decision or that slew of decisions that has so many possibilities that it's impossible for you to be able to kind of pick and choose. If you're interested in getting a free lesson with me, please check out the link right here.
I thought were so important and I worked so hard on them. And it just really made me sad and lonely. And I think that's when I realized, after a while, not initially because I was really pushing myself to be like, oh yeah, Joe, you're going to do so great. But yeah, after a while I realized that not being around people makes me sad. It's just how it is. So flash forward to a number of months ago. Jonas, my editor and friend, moved out of this place, and now I'm alone in this flat. And I knew it was going to be difficult because when I lived alone back then, that was probably the closest I've ever been to be really depressed. I would say that I was depressed then. It was awful. I worked all the time, as I said. I didn't sleep properly. I would go to bed, but then, the work computer would be right there, so I would walk over there and work a little bit at like 2 a.m. if I woke up, and I was really stressed all the time about getting the videos done and stuff, and it was the worst. So yeah, I was worried, but Jonas moved out, and in the beginning, it worked pretty okay. But recently, I've just found that I'm trying to escape being alone all the time, being at home. I get really sad in the flat, and I don't really have anywhere to go. My friends in Brighton are great.
Wow, so he's being very real and putting it all out there. There's a lot that he's saying there, and I think that just being willing to put this out to his audience and kind of like be vulnerable in that way to the public is very difficult. And I totally get where he's coming from on, being able to work anytime. You're literally like, whenever you want to work, it's there for you. And you could potentially make more anytime you spend more time working. And so it's this kind of like constant rat wheel. It's like almost trading up, like, okay, there's a certain 9 to 5 rat wheel that people run, but it's trading up that rat wheel for this rat wheel. And any day, I would choose this rat wheel over that one. But I think that it's really important to build specific fail-safes and kind of a safety net for yourself. Like family is number one. Like having some sort of support network. It doesn't sound like he has much of a support network outside of Jonas, who was his friend living in his flat with him. Without that, the life of a YouTuber is extremely lonely. It's like, it may seem glamorous, but the entire glam is all digital. It's not actually real. It's just all comments and, like you're not actually face-to-face interacting with anybody. You could potentially be sitting in your room, just like he's explaining, all day long, and you're kind of just stuck in that. So, I'm very thankful that, I have my family that I'm built and I can rely on, and I have there for emotional support. I really don't know what I would do without them. And thankfully, I also have a nice, strong group of friends. It's not a big group of friends, but it's still a strong group of friends that, I can always rely on. But yeah, I totally get where he's coming from. Like, totally get it. And especially now that I'm doing this full time, like I can't imagine being where I am, to be single and to be like, friends that are far away type of thing. It would be super tough. I would really recommend to him to start to schedule in time with friends. Like you would really, like, let's say 2 nights a week, you go out with friends. You schedule that time in like it's an appointment with a client. So that way you kind of build in that self-care, because it doesn't sound like it's there here. It doesn't sound like it's there for him.
I don't really see them that often, and I don't have the energy to travel away to see friends every day or whatever. So it's been really lonely. And I don't think that comes across in my videos that I've been sad, of course, but it's like when I'm alone, time doesn't exist properly, and I could just get lost in doing anything that makes me forget that I'm alone. So for example, in the evenings after I stop working, I don't want to think about that I'm alone. So I will sit down and play video games on the TV. I'll play some Switch or PS4 or whatever, and I just can't stop because I don't want to face the fact that I'm all alone there. And that would often lead to me playing till like maybe 5 a.m. sometimes. I think the average would probably be like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., something like that. And it's hard because I don't have any structure in my life. I'm a YouTuber. I set my own schedule, right? And, that's a luxury, of course. But it's also hard when nothing's keeping you accountable to take care of yourself. The thing why I'm staying downstairs here and playing video games is that I don't want to go upstairs where there's no TV.
That's the irony of it, is like, yes, it's amazing the freedom that it provides, but that freedom, you can be totally enslaved to that sort of freedom because there's nothing keeping you on a regular schedule. I mean, similar to children, we really thrive on boundaries and clear guidelines of like, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this. And just that routine is something that as creatures of habit, we really thrive on. And so the fact that you live a life where you don't necessarily need to have any sort of habit and things just roll in, right? You get that monthly paycheck from YouTube. As long as you're uploading on specific schedule, it works. It's very difficult to make use of that ultimate luxury of just endless time with no structure.
And nothing fun, and it's all quiet, and I gotta brush my teeth, and I don't know, it makes me feel so bad. I hate it. For a while, I tried bringing my laptop up to my bed and watch shows or whatever in bed, but it would way too often end up with me looking at YouTube analytics or starting to work in bed or whatever, because I have access to the whole of the internet in bed, which is a really bad idea, at least for me, because I get addicted to Reddit, or I get addicted to like looking back on my own videos and seeing what I can do better, looking at other people's YouTube videos, seeing like, what can I learn from this? And suddenly I'm super stressed up and I can't sleep. So I stopped bringing
Totally relate.
and laptop up there as well. So in this quest to try to not feel awful when I go to bed, I've bought a TV recently. So yeah, the TV is up there and it's better because I can only watch TV on the TV. I can't really browse or do anything like that properly on the TV. Watching The Office right now, it's kind of like just playing in the background all the time when I'm in my bedroom because I don't want to feel alone. Recommend The Office, by the way. It's really good. 4.5 out of 5, a bit too much cringe, but yeah, it's a good freaking show. Another thing I've done to try to keep myself disciplined in check is that I bought these kitchen safe things, and I will put the controllers for video games and if I have any snacks and stuff, I'll put those in there as well. And they're time locked, so I can lock something away for like 12 hours or even days. And that works pretty well, but it's hard for me to find motivation to lock them away. So often I just won't. And yeah, talking about snacks and stuff, I've definitely been eating a lot of crap.
Okay, so he's got certain, kind of fail safes and certain structure that he builds into his day by himself, but it sounds like he needs a little bit more because sometimes he lacks the motivation to actually implement them.
Jonas moved out as well because I've been so alone. I get sad and then I want to eat. I have what I would call an addiction to Deliverooing Oreos and these vegan chocolate bars because I'm vegan. Whoop to do. They're called Vego, and I just kind of order that, and it's probably way too many calories. I think I've gained some weight. It's probably visible in my face and stuff, and it's awful. It doesn't make me happy. It just makes me feel worse, and I know that I'm not taking care of myself, and it kind of sucks. Haha! This is a fun video. Am I right? I also installed blocking programs on my computer. It's called Cold Turkey Blocker. What I have on here. So basically,
you could definitely tell that it's uncomfortable for him to discuss this type of concept openly, as it would be with anybody. This is really interesting, turkey block. So basically you're not able to touch your stuff from a specific time at night to a specific time during the day. That makes sense.
Blocks me from using my work computer from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that's something, right? And that's been really good. I really recommend that. However, something that's been a bit of a bummer is that I installed it on my Mac laptop as well. And for a long time it worked really well, but now it's not working anymore. So since I have like no self-discipline when I'm alone, I will just go to my laptop once this is the laptop and then I can't do anything. I think something that helped me in the beginning when Jonas moved out was that I took a lot of walks just to get outside and I would at least see people during the day and stuff. And yeah, that was great. However, the weather in Brighton now is awful. It's really rainy and windy and cold. And I also noticed that I get a lot of acne like all around my jawline and everything when I wear a scarf. So I just don't want to put that on. So I don't want to go outside because obviously I film myself every day now and I don't want zits on the video. So it just keeps me stuck inside way more. And yeah, the zits would also make me a lot more sad. So it would just add to the sadness to go outside now instead of being good. Are my problems even problems?
He's being really real about his acne and issues that obviously being on camera, it's not pleasant to have those types of issues that are glaringly obvious on camera. I totally get it. I mean, for anybody I'm nowhere close to where he's at. I mean, I would love to be at 5 million subscribers. Smash that subscribe button. But I feel like this is such a relatable video to basically anybody doing any sort of self-employed business type work, YouTube, whatever it might be. If you're self-employed, this is like relatable.
I don't know. Let me know if you guys relate to any of this. But yeah, Jonas still comes around most work days, like Monday through Friday. Maybe he stays home like one of the days. And I'm usually okay during the days, but every evening I'm on my own. And it kind of sucks. It wasn't like me and Jonas hung out all the time when I lived here, but just having someone in the flat really helps. And now I don't have that. I get stuck in the shower a lot and they would go on for a lot longer than I planned. And little annoying things like the heat control of my shower have stopped working. Just another thing of all the things I showed you the other day that aren't working in my flat. It kind of makes me angry. And also the toilets upstairs. Like when I moved in here, I could just let go of the toilet lid and it would slowly close. And something's happened to it. And now if I let go of it, just bam. And that also really annoys me. Just stupid things that I wouldn't care about if someone else was here. But for some reason, I expect everything to be perfect when I'm here alone. I don't know if I'm like in an early stage of like getting into a depression or something, but I've been very sad. And again,
Roomie, yeah. I don't know if you guys know, but I have a background in psychotherapy. It definitely sounds like this is something that should be addressed in therapy. There's no reason to let it get too far to the point where it's like in desperate need of attention. Best to get it dealt with like right away or as soon as possible. It won't hurt.
You might think that the big workload of doing daily content or whatever has also impacted this. I don't think so to a very big extent. Rather, it's been really nice to be able to connect with you guys through the videos and reading your guys' comments and stuff, because that's pretty much the biggest connection I have with people at all right now. So I really appreciate you guys' comments and nice feedback and stuff. And that's also probably why I got so angry the other day in the video about hate comments, because I've grown a lot more reliant on comments over the last few months. So when they're bad, I guess.
That's so interesting. So the double-edged sword of using YouTube as a way to connect with people is that, yeah, on YouTube, people can be very nice and very positive, but then you can also get a lot of negative, and trust me, I get a lot of negative comments where people are just bashing and bashing. And it's just, if you put too much of your heart into that, it can crush your heart. That's tough.
They sting a little bit more. Again, I do have friends in Brighton. It just takes a lot of energy after a long work day to go and hang out with people. I don't think I have that energy after working really hard a full day. I can't. So like, yeah, I have great friends here. I have Felix, I have Sean Jacksepticeye, I have PJ, I have Jonas and Bianca. I have all these amazing people, but I don't have any energy to go out. Anyway, I just thought I would share.
So I think like that is an important point to work on, is like, you know, separating that time. Like, okay, I have flexibility. Like, I don't need to work Mondays or whatever, Sundays when they're available till, 10 p.m. I can cut that down to like 5 p.m. and then go out and enjoy like a couple of nights a week or one night a week or multiple nights. Like, really, you have ultimate flexibility. So you choose what is possible for you. But I would highly recommend putting in time for self-care, because that is one of the most important points to have longevity on this platform, or really any sort of work.
Share this because obviously from the comments it seems like you guys have the impression that my life is so great, and in reality I at least feel like it kind of sucks. I realize that I'm a privileged person, my job is amazing, but I think we all have problems and things that bother us no matter how easy or hard our lives is, and I thought that I would share some of mine. And also, I'm not just complaining, I am working on ways to fix this. I want to move closer to my friends here in Brighton. I want to start spending more time in LA where I have a lot of other YouTuber friends and stuff. I can't wait to do that. I'm actually working on trying to get a work visa for the US. I can stay there for longer periods of time. And yeah, I hope this video doesn't come across as whiny. I'm incredibly lucky to have the life I have, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm so happy that you guys watch my stuff and I get to do this full time. I get to have a team that edits my videos and helps me out with stuff. It's so freaking great. The time I spent.
And I hear him here, like, he's having real problems for the parameters of his life, but then for him talking to other people, and obviously there's a whole vast audience that is listening to what he's projecting outwards into the world right now, and they're in like objectively worse circumstances, but it's not relative to his life. Like, for him, that's why I feel like, everybody says like first world problems, but first world problems are real for the people that are living in those problems, because I think no matter how good life gets, it's never going to get problem free. We just get better at solving problems, and the more you can work through all those problems and get to the solutions, new problems are going to crop up that are more and more first world-ish. And so he's in his own first world problems, but that's part of his perspective, and I think it's just as legitimate as other problems because it's relative to where you're at. And again, this is not to say that objectively there are not worse problems than others. There are 100% objectively worse problems than others, but we all have our own issues. Nobody is exempt from issues, because I don't think life is about getting free of issues. Life is about working through those issues and constantly improving ourselves. That's just my 2 cents. Don't mean to get too preachy, and I'm not perfect at this. I continually try to work on self-care on a regular basis to make sure that's there in my life, because again, if I'm not taking care of myself, as he said, with YouTube, you are the face of what you're doing. So if you're not there, all of this stops. If Roomie stops, then everything stops as far as his business goes. So his self-care should be on the top priority of business performance, because there's not going to be any longevity if he's not able to take care of himself. So I know this has been a massive rant and kind of an opportunity to break away from the regular content that you see on my channel. But, I just saw this video and I thought I would share a little bit about my perspective on it and how it relates to me. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more, check out this one. You're going to like it too.